Welcome to 20 Minutes on DawnNews English. I'm Nadia Naqi with you. Today we've invited Syed Kaleem Imam Sahab. We know him that he served in the police department 34 years and has served in various positions including IG Islamabad, IG Punjab, IG Sindh, IG Motorway and Highway Police, and he retired as Federal Secretary, Ministry of Narcotics. Thank you so much for joining us. Today, as the Jail Bharo Tehreek, the court arrest Tehreek that begins from Lahore Mall Road by the Pakistan Tehreek-i-Insaaf, the largest party in opposition. We're going to be talking to Mr. Kaleem Imam as what the police is going to do, because what we hear now is that PTI is all set to fill the jails, and they say that at least to kick off their protest today, some approximately 200 people are there to basically get arrested. So thank you so much for joining us. Initially, I'd first like to, just read off the tweet that Imran Khan has been, writing on social media, and he talks about why this Jail Bharo Tehreek is important for the freedom of Pakistan. He says that the more the supporters are on the streets, the better it is, and the easier it is going to be, and the faster it is going to be for a free and happier Pakistan. He says, today we start our Jail Bharo campaign for Hakiki Azadi for two main reasons. One, it is a peaceful, non-violent protest against the attack on our constitutionally guaranteed fundamental rights. We are facing sham FIRs and NAP cases, custodial torture, attacks on journalists and social media people. And the second reason he gives is that it is against the economic meltdown brought on by a cabal of crooks who have money laundered billions and looted wealth and gotten NROs for themselves while crushing the people, especially the poor and the middle class, under the burden of spiraling inflation and rising unemployment. There was also news that Shah Mahmood Qureshi is going to be one of the leaders who would also, give his freedom away today. But then later it was taken back, saying that he is the second most important leader of Pakistan Tehreek-i-Insaaf, and that the leadership shall decide when the first-tier leadership is going to be giving it their freedom. However, it has also been stated that Waleed Iqbal, who's also a senator, as well as other two leaders, including the former Governor Punjab, Umar Sarfaraz Cheema, and Murad Ras, who's the former Education Minister Punjab, will be participating in giving away their freedom. Thank you so much for joining us, Kaleem Imam Saab. It was very necessary for people to understand first what this Jail Bharo Tehreek is all about. Now we come to what the police is going to do, because the entire responsibility, of course, I think the burden is on the police in terms of the protest that the PTI will be staging. They say that, if they're not let in the jails, then probably they're going to be doing a sit-in, and they start off from Mall Road, where there has been Section 144 imposed. So first of all, tell me, have you ever witnessed in the 34 years that you spent in the police department any such campaign by any political party?
Thank you, Nadia. It's always a pleasure to be in your show, and thank you for inviting. Well, Jail Bharo Tehreek or Andolan, or trying to present yourself to be arrested without committing a cognizable offense, has been strategy in the past in subcontinent, where we saw Mahatma Gandhi doing that. And we also saw that in the MRD movement. We also saw Tehreek-e-Labbaik doing that. We also saw MMA doing that in sometime in 2004 and 5. But it hasn't really produced any result as such, number one. Number two, we did see that Anna Hazara, when he went for a strike and Jail Bharo and that sort, he did manage to get some legislation in his favor. So that's a story on one side. Secondly, this Jail Bharo Tehreek, or trying to present yourself to be arrested, Police can't arrest anyone, jail can't take anyone unless you have committed an offense. And so if they can only be arrested if they do arsoning or rioting or do any offense.
So now that they are all on the Mall Road, that's where they're going to kickstart this campaign. Tell me one thing, there has been Section 144 imposed. So, automatically violating that, where this section does not allow assembly of people, does it not allow the police to arrest all of these people who are there?
Well, whenever an offense is committed, It depends whether it's a it's a bailable offense or a non-bailable offense. If it's a bailable offense and if they have committed it, police can take bail right away. And if it's a non-bailable offense, even then they can take some sort of a surety. All this, the PPC section 270 and onwards actually covers the careless behavior of a citizen, and there are sections in it which would apply if they transgress and break the given law. So law will take its course. But unless they haven't broken any law or committed any offense, they can't be arrested.
Okay, so you've also served as IG. In such a scenario, how much of a responsibility the police department carries? Because you've got you've got crowds coming in, they're all charged up. They'll probably come and say, arrest us. Some of them may get violent. How does the police restrain itself from not, using baton, using any sort of extreme steps, I'd say?
Well, the best way forward is that police leadership needs to negotiate with the protesters' leadership. This is what they normally do, and they should be able to convince them that even if they want to agitate, they should do it in a place where they don't disturb the citizens' movement and the vital routes, And if they do that, police can actually clear those areas off. Again, it would depend how many people are there, and police is going to move, use their prudence and move accordingly. If there are fewer people, maybe they might go for certain actions. But if there are larger people, they might go for some negotiations, some dialogue to diffuse it, to regulate it. This is what probably they would be doing. But it will be time for police leadership actually to talk with them, get a policy from the existing government, at the same time musters all their logistic and human resource, and to ensure that when manpower is actually needed, they can utilize them. Their primary job would remain protecting the vital assets and installations, vital places, and as long as those places are safe, so you have right to protest, they can do it. But if they want to get themselves arrested, they should have. It would have to be seen whether they have committed any cognizable offense. And even if they have committed a cognizable offense, like I said, whether it's a bailable offense or it's a non-bailable offense.
Okay, so the MPO, we all talk about that. Let's say, because this is going to happen right opposite Punjab Assembly, which of course is a sensitive installation, like you said, that the police has to take care of all the installations. So, what's the preparedness of the police in such a scenario? Are more police forces called in from various places? And what is the scientific maths, I'd say, that is used, that so many policemen for so many people should be there at least in such a scenario?
They have to make a threat assessment, and they have to understand what is the mob psychology and what could be a worst case scenario. Like I said, if the mob is not of a sizable number, police can always push them back. But if it's of a sizable number and if they would like to move towards Governor House, maybe they would like to stop them near the sideways and pathways, so that the main roads, remain open. This is what they will do. Police is a physical arm of state. It's a job to ensure that they maintain law and order. They ensure that anybody who commits crime, they take action against them. And of course, people who are going to violate law or break law, police will take action. But again, once they do take action, they have an option to take their bail and to let them go off surety. But if the purpose is like to get the maximum people in the prisons, again, it's like a political agitation. It's not actually a crime which is being committed. The motivation is totally different. So police has to be very tactical in this respect.
There's one more thing that I'd like to ask you. You're absolutely right that they have to, commit some kind of cognizable offense in order for them to be arrested. But let's say there's a lot of crowd. They're all gathering in front of Punjab Assembly at Charing Cross. And at the same time, there are a lot of other peoples that are coming out on the streets, and they're blocking roads. They're blocking the movement of traffic, which of course in itself is causing problems for normal citizens, for movement of ambulances and otherwise also. Does that come into any kind of offense? And can the police arrest them in those charges?
Yes, police should take the lawful course, which is that if they break law, they are blocking the road, stopping the ambulance, or trying to arson some certain area, police must take actions. They can't be bystanders. They are the physical arm of the state, and they have to ensure the sanity prevails. And this is where the actual leadership would come in, and various tiers of the managers of the police have to play a very important role. Like I said, if it's a huge crowd, they have to see what will be their options, 1, 2, 3. And if it's a manageable crowd, they will see how they are going to respond. But one thing should be very clear: anybody breaking law, action should be taken against it. But if they don't, other would imitate, and things can escalate. So the police should not be a bystander. They are not part of what is happening, and they should remain professional, and that is what their way forward should be.
Okay, so when you say that, they have to first see the amount of people that have gathered, if it's a sizable crowd or a large crowd, or and then they have options 1, 2, 3. What can those options be? If you had been the IG and such a situation was, taking place today, what options would you be exercising, and what plan would you be putting in place?
Well, we will talk to them, talk to their leadership, try to bring sanity. Number one. Number two, if the crowd still comes and if it's peaceful, it's okay with us. Let us see how long they are going to stay over there. But if they get violent, we have water cannons. We can baton charge them. We can push them back. We can also use tear gas shells to push them back. So that should be no issue at all. But police should move in a systematic manner. They can also do stick and carrot and stick both, which is like when they see the crowd is gone back, they do not need to push them further and let them stay where they are. But if they do get violent, and if they do start some fire or stone pelting or bringing the safety of other citizens into question, they must take action. There is no question on that.
We've always seen Punjab police known to be for their high-handedness. Like, we see them like beating people, and the kind of force that they use. Do you often approve of that?
Not at all. Police has no right to do what we see, and some of them people who take those extrajudicial measures. The moment you arrest someone, and you need to ensure that now he's in your custody, and now you have to apply all the norms, or ethical norms, and the law and the norms provided in the law to provide him protection. We often see pictures of people being arrested, being put into prison van, and people still baton charging them. That's absolutely wrong. This means that they have not been trained, their leadership has not briefed them properly. Not at all. You see, we need to understand that even if stones are being pelted towards us and people are still trying to attack us, it's a minimum force we are going to use. They are doing it for a cause, and they are just there to enforce law. And we should remember that even if we don't get hold of certain people at that time, we can get hold of them later on. So they have to be very tactical. They have to give a perception, and they have to present them themselves in a manner that the element of trust, it comes up. In a mob, there would be a hardcore element who would be striking. There would be a lot of sensible people also, and so they can always move towards those sensible people to ensure that the hardcore tiers among them are pushed back.
Okay. What about, because there will be women also? So are male policemen allowed to, stop the female protesters, or do you get the female force to handle them?
Of course, the normal priority is that keeping the norms and culture and traditions of the society. It's a women police force which normally comes on the first tier to ensure if there are women protesters over there. But even if the women protesters get violent, the male or the police force, they can take appropriate action under law. But like I said, only force which is cogent, to the requirement. That is the amount that they can use, and no more and no less.
So Kaleem Imam sir, at this juncture that such a protest is happening, IG of course decides everything and gives a plan in consultation with all the DIGs, of course. But then who is the IG taking orders from? It is the Chief Secretary or the CM?
Well, in the good governance paradigm, the government would just be giving a policy. The policy would be like to ensure that there is no law and order situation, and there is no breach of law, and the IG would prepare his own plans in consultation with his team, and the SSP, which is the highest level at the district level, he's actually to ensure that those are put in place. For that, he needs to do simulation exercise, mock, gear up his logistics, talk to his people, continuously brief them, and even keep on talking to people who are coming on the streets. So he would actually suggest to government that here is your policy, and this is how it should be implemented. But if we see, we do see snacks where everybody becomes a tactical officers and they start chipping in. When I was IG, my best course is man on the spot. I used to motivate him. He's responsible. I used to ensure he's working under the law. He needs some protection.
Okay. Now, because we have just 4 minutes now, when you take a like a wider look, and you see that there is a rise in terrorism, and we've seen so many events happening in Pakistan. The recent one was in Karachi. Right now, in such a scenario, how difficult it is to maintain the law and order and also be alert to such kind of threats when you have a political party now converging all together on streets for protesting. Is it just going to be the police handling such a situation, or all the intelligence right now must be very active along with, a support to the police given by the paramilitary forces?
Well, police is a premier law enforcing agency, and all the intelligence agencies should come up to the support of the premier law enforcing agencies. Right now, they should start gathering information, carry out threat assessment, see what are the scenarios, what are the possibilities. Based on that, they should prepare their plan. What should they be doing on the first years, second year, and the last year? All the civil armed forces and the armed forces should remain on the back. It's a job of the police. They must ensure that they are able to maintain law and order. It's their job. This is what they have been trained for. When civil armed forces and others come, they are actually not directly living in community, and many times, they cannot perform the same way like a police officer does. Police officer lives in the same locality on whom he's trying to enforce law. So police needs to take action. Right now, they need to do a lot of orientation. They need to do a lot of trainings. They need to do a lot of simulations. They need to also see that young officers are placed in the first years. They also need to ensure that psychologically balanced people are there. They need to ensure that people who actually can use those logistics should be there, and they should come up with just simple cops on the front, cops with the sticks, and the cop with the tear gases, and maybe at the last stage you can see cops carrying some arms. They should focus on the cannons, water cannons. They should focus on the tear gas shells. They should focus on how actually they can move and push people back.
Right. Lastly, do we really, we all know that our prisons are always overpopulated. Do we really have the place to somehow attract all this, political protest?
Well, Nadia, I've been agitating at all levels. There are 116 prisons in Pakistan, and their present capacity is to house around 56,000 people. Right now, more than 80,000 people are in these 116 prisons, and many of those prisoners are accused are there for more than 5 years. The trial process, criminal justice system process. There is no space for them in the prison. That this should be very clear. What they would be doing probably is moving them to some judicial lockups in the suburbs, the districts, and other tehsils. This is what they would be doing. And even if they are getting hold of some people and they take it to prisons, it will be overcrowded. I keep on saying that we need to bail out these people who are in prisons. Why are we overhousing them? We need to decide their cases as early as possible. Many of them are already there for and the amount that they have spent, the time that they have spent in jail is more than actually the offense, the punishment for the offense they have committed. So prisons actually have no space over there at all. So this will be a big challenge. But I don't know how it's going to be, how it's going to shape. But right now, lawfully, there is no such thing that people want to say that arrest us and police is going to arrest them. There is no such law, and I don't think police is going to do that.
Thank you so much, Syed Kaleem Imam Sahab, for being with us on Dawn News English. He says there is no law that the police can arrest all these political protesters. Let's see how this is going to shape up. That's all for now. Take care of yourself. Goodbye.